Hey, my friends, we're going to do something a little bit different today in that we're not going into the Wayback Machine or the Go Back Machine at all. We're going to talk about current day people. And in fact, Jack Reacher, who the guy who plays him is Alan Richson. And as you can see, he's in pretty good shape. He's a pretty big dude. A lot of people say he's 6'5". By his own admission, he's 6'3", 6'3", and he's about 235. So yeah, he's a big dude. Um, and then so you might wonder, so I certainly did when I start watching the show, wonder how this guy trains, what he eats, and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get into all that stuff. His diet is really not the best, and that's why I'm saying the good, the bad, and the ugly. And actually, we're going to kind of go backwards. And we're going to start with the ugly, which is the worst stuff that he kind of habitually eats. And he did a thing, you see, Men's Health. There was a video that they did, and they've done a couple things with him. But like they asked him what he would have as a late night snack, key lime pie, and he eats cookie dough or cookies pretty much every day. In fact, he talks about that for his birthday, he got like 8 pounds of cookie dough, and he ate it all by himself. So that's the worst of it. Now we move into the bad, not quite as bad. Um, Pizza. He said it's funny because they do like a tour of his fridge and his gym in this one Men's Health video, and he said his wife must have cleaned it out because they usually have leftover pizza. This is a bag of deli cheese, and it's funny because he talks about they put the price tag over the zipper thing. That used to be a pet peeve of mine when I used to routinely eat this stuff. And honestly, I did eat exactly this kind of stuff. He's making like a taco-less taco with the cheese as the shell, and then he just throws some turkey or something in there, and then cheese dogs. He does have kids. Kids like hot dogs. All right, not the end of the world, but not great either. And he does eat, like his main meals are really not so terrible, except that like he likes oatmeal for breakfast, and he gets the pre-packaged little ones that are flavored, and he has a couple of them for breakfast. He talks about having protein shakes, and the stuff he puts in the protein shakes are pretty good, really. Organic eggs, fruit, and he said his kids like fruit, so they're all picking at fruit all day. Again, relatively healthy, but it also does have a lot of sugar in it, so he does like his carbs. And there he is, and this is like when they were introducing the little um, tour of the kitchen, the refrigerator, and then we'll go into his gym. Now this is interesting. I didn't realize that Muscle Milk had a 40-gram protein shake. I'll have to look for these. I do like Muscle Milk. Their normal one is like 30 grams, and they're pretty good. So here's the oatmeal, and of course, it says that it offers a strong source of fiber. Yeah, it does. But I would think I would prefer, like some steel cut or something a little more organic. And here he is with turkey meatloaf that his wife made for dinner. And of course, they'll have, he does like mashed potatoes that he mentions, and then they'll have some, vegetables along with that. Here's his wife. Um, and they've been married for a while, have 3 kids. And I think the oldest boy is a teenager. I'm not sure what they all are. And here he harkens back to what he used to eat as a kid. And I can relate somewhat. Yeah, I had some spam as a kid, but he's talking about spam and that cheese, those slices where they're individually wrapped in plastic, and then just plain old white bread. When he talks about supplements, he does talk about that he takes electrolytes and a multi mineral and a good B12 supplement, and that's about it. Here he is. I think that's the minerals and the electrolytes in his hand, which he said really helped him because as hard as he works out, he would cramp up a lot, and he said that. And of course, I don't know if he gets paid endorsements for that company, but he uses the same thing. And here you can see he's actually pretty ripped considering how he eats. Now, he does admit um, he did get a lot of his bulk without drugs, he claims. But at some point, he just was so beat up, and he went to the doctors, had a full workup, and they found that he had low testosterone. So of course now he's on testosterone replacement therapy, and I would imagine that is going right up to pretty much the normal max. He does like body weight moves, and it seems like he incorporates at least something along those lines in his regular workouts. And he talks about it, when he was a kid, his early routine, he would run to the local playground, do push-ups, pull-ups, dips, and sit-ups, and then he would run back. So, and he would do like 4 sets of 25 each of those things. So, I mean, that's a pretty high volume program. And he said some of his friends would come out and try to do it with him, and nobody could really do 4 sets of 25 of those things like he could. So, he had a good base, even when he was lighter. So this is his home gym. He likes this cage. It is a pretty nice looking cage. Has a lot of attachments. It does a lot of pulley stuff. Um, so there he is doing leg lifts. And you can see he's got a dumbbell. It looks like a fairly hefty dumbbell he's got between his feet. We'll get a closer shot of the dumbbell on his feet. But obviously that's contributing to those abs that you see. So I guess leg lifts and sit-ups are his two go-to ab exercises. Now you can find like what we'll say his full workout online in the one spot, but it was really just his arm routine, which is pretty heavily his arm routine in and of itself. But when asked what his favorite stuff is, he talks about the pecs, and he talks about the pectoralis major, which is that top part. And so his favorite move is the incline bench, but he'll do, he has that adjustable bench, and he goes from inclines to flat to declines, and does like 2.25. And again, he does high reps, like in the 15 to 25 range. And he'll say, hypertrophy starts at 15 to 25. Yeah, it's in the zone, but hypertrophy starts a little lower than that, really. Here's a cable chest and shoulder move that he does, where it's sort of like simulating an incline press, and he brings it together at the top. This is he calls these like um, dumbbell arm presses or something like that. It's just a dumbbell bench press to me. Pretty hefty dumbbells there. They're at least hundreds. They might be like $120s or something like that. But as part of his arm routine, he does supersets of this, and then into the head knockers that you see here. And he likes supersets. In fact, he says his whole full body workout that he does 5 days a week only takes him like 20 to 30 minutes. So I would think you would have to do some supersets to do that. Here he is doing rope hammer curls, which is a little bit different as part of his overall arm routine. But so he'll do that first thing with the dumbbells, and then the hammer curl, or I'm sorry, head knockers. Then he goes to the bicep one. Then he goes into a superset with tricep push downs, and then tricep overhead push downs. And then he goes into what they call 21s, which I've done these. And yeah, it's a great pump. It's funny because Dr. Mike Israetel does a little critique on him. And, he's got this look on his face, who's just hard work. And of course, he brings up that he's on testosterone. So, and people like him and RFK will say, I'm not on steroids. Well, guess what? TRT is a steroid. It's testosterone. Buff dudes who I also follow, they followed his arm routine. And, it's one of these. We tried Alan Richson's arm routine, and supposedly blew up their arms like 2 inches over the course of the workout. Now, that's the whole routine? Of course not. So here he's doing like a rows on his cable machine, so that's obviously going to hit back. Um, it's the only thing I saw like talked about doing back. But he does not like squats, but he'll do cable squats, goblet squats. He does um, lunges and split squats, and then leg curls and leg extensions, as mentioned here. So, yeah, he doesn't just do upper body, of course not. Now, his legs are not, I'm sure, up to par, and he's the first to admit that. He says, like, his least favorite exercise is the squat, and he does not like top loaded leg exercises. Does do cardio, tries to get some cardio in, like, after every workout. And he talks about his fight training, which of course every show he's involved in fighting. Um, which obviously a lot of it is stunt work. But he says that just doing a few minutes of that, and he's gassed, and he realizes cardio wise, there's a lot to be desired there. But consistency, he says he trains 5 days a week, and if he misses one of the days of the week, he'll try to make it up on a Saturday. But he did end up, because he was kind of overtraining, especially before he started doing the TRT, he banged up his shoulder and had to get shoulder surgery. And he's showing, like, they asked him, "Do you have any scars?" And it's not real obvious there, but yeah, he has a bit of a scar from his shoulder surgery. Um, would I recommend his diet? No. Would I recommend his training program? It depends. It depends on, you know, who you are, your age, your supplements, and just the way you like to train. He has that background of doing the body weight stuff, which it kind of requires high reps to really get any place. And then he just kind of stayed with that high rep type of routine and moved into a little bit higher resistance to gain. He had to gain 30 pounds to play the Reacher role. And there he is, like, kind of a before and after picture. He was in some other roles. He played a football player where he was lighter before he got the Jack Reacher role. And obviously, before him, we had Tom Cruise, and he's in good shape and everything, but he's a lot smaller. Now, you might think, he's kind of a badass, and he's got that look here with the tat, and he actually has several tats, but he talks about the meaning of each in this Men's Health thing. But he's also a good family man, and he's actually a Christian, and he's outspoken about his faith. Uh, there he is again, looking kind of like the tough guy dude with the hat there. Um, but obviously in very good shape. Especially, you don't see any pictures of his legs. But they asked him about his mental, like how he recuperates and things he does outside of physical training. And he does talk about praying and reading scripture every day. And there he is again with the. So he did this thing, and I don't know if he's still doing it, but at least he was doing it for a while. Where he's on Instagram and he's on Facebook, and I'll show you his Facebook page just to add her. But some say I can't be a Christian and play Reacher, and he does kind of a little rebuttal of that in what he calls Insta Church on Instagram. But there's his Facebook page header. So I actually did a friend request with him. Now, you may have seen this guy. I think the last episode I saw, this guy was on there. He's 7'2" and just massive. And it's funny because I think Men's Health did a thing on him. How I gained 150 pounds in eight years. So certainly not a short term thing. But in the one show, he challenged Reacher to a bench contest, and Reacher kind of tricked him into doing this thing where he ended up punching himself in the face. But he does say that they asked him if he maxed out ever. He said no, but I did do 355 for like 10 reps. So I would have to imagine his max bench would be at least 450, if not 500. And then concerning faith, he talks about he had a midlife crisis, wasn't as close to God, and then he made decisions that he would start reading the Word and praying daily, and he's just a lot better. And really trying to live the Christian life in Hollywood, which obviously isn't too easy. So that's about it for Alan. I thank you for watching. Thank everybody that has subscribed. I hope that if you have not, that you will. Also, you can get notifications as the new videos pop up. So thanks, and